Just a few thoughts about the sanctions, the Russia sanctions, and the effects of these sanctions, and the way that the ideas that some of the what do I call them? The elites, I guess, the assholes who presume that they deserve to have power over the rest of us. I'll just call them the assholes from now on, because when I say they, people are like, well, "Who do you mean by they?" It's like I'm meaning to say something else, but I'm being secretive. No, I'm just talking about the assholes who presume that it's good, just, and righteous for them to have power over the rest of us, despite the fact that most of them aren't even elected, even if elections, conferred that kind of authority over people, which I don't believe they do. But with gas prices rising as a direct result of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, you're starting to see this effort being made. I've seen this point made by two people, one of whom I wouldn't necessarily say is the number one member of the oligarchic elite, but still is a spokesman for the interest that they serve, even though he's not terribly relevant, and that's George Takai, the former Sulu on the old Star Trek. He tweeted something, and I'll try to find the link to it and leave it below. But if it's not below, then you should just seek it out yourself, because it's real. It happened. He tweeted something to the effect that, with these high gas prices, yes, it's a burden, but it's a burden that we should shoulder, with gusto, because it's a way that we are fighting against evil in the world. that's the content of what he said. And then he was his sentiment was repeated by somebody who's much more of a typical spokesman for this contingent, for the oligarchy, the asshole oligarchy, the psychopathic oligarchy, and that would be good old Stephen Colbert. The same guy who was pushing the vaccine on his show, and having men come out dressed as needles in drag. This bizarre campaign that he had going for a while. Well, it seems that recently, and I get these things secondhand because I don't watch these shows. I don't watch Saturday Night Live anymore. I didn't know about that sketch that I presented to you all the other day until I heard about it from a secondhand source. So things just filter down to me. But what Colbert said basically echoed the sentiment of Takai, which is that it's a virtuous thing. It's like we should feel virtuous. It's worth paying it's worth $1 or $2 at the pumps to fight for what's right and what's good in the world. So what you have, in both of these cases, it's so unbelievable how these people who are supposed to be, we're supposed to revere them in one sense, like, oh, they're so sophisticated, they're master manipulators, but trying this line just seems so out of touch, and so like, can they just not help being sounding like they're talking down to people? Can they just not help being oblivious to how they're coming across? Stephen Colbert makes millions of dollars. George Takei hasn't been in anything for a while, but I'm sure he lives quite comfortably. And they're telling the rest of us who are just scraping to get by in this shitty economy with hyperinflation just on the horizon, everything costing more. They're telling us, now, don't complain. You need to do your duty and gladly accept these elevated prices at the pump. You should gladly accept them going higher and higher and higher. There is no limit to what you should be able to accept. When you wake up a few days from now and see that it's $12 a gallon, you should say, "Yeah, I will gladly pay a few extra bucks for each gallon, that I'm having to pump into my tank to get to my worthless job that pays me very little, just barely enough to get by. I should just feel thrilled and enthused that I'm just sticking it to that evil bastard Putin and the Russians, and I'm taking a stand for freedom and for the liberation of Ukraine." Do they actually think that line is going to work? I mean, it astonishes me. Their inability to see how out of touch and how out of touch they are, and just how infuriating this will be. This will make people. How infuriated people will be made by hearing these people in Hollywood, these people in showbiz, lecturing them that a few bucks extra at the pump shouldn't be any big deal. Like, I'm not studied. I'm no Edward Bernays. I'm not studied in the techniques of psychological propaganda or psychological warfare and propaganda, but I know that if you take that kind of line, people are going to be pissed off, and they are. A recent poll I heard said that it was like something like 2/3 of the American public think that it's Biden's fault that the gas prices are what they are right now. It's a complex combination of things. Let's leave aside the question of fault, but for a second, because I want to try to be objective here. But clearly, saying, "Oh well, we should just go to the pumps joyfully and pay and feel good about paying just a little bit extra," like we're giving to a charity or something. We're doing our part. Just how do they get so dumb? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And you could overthink it, and I do. Sometimes people have accused me of overthinking things. Yes, I know it's hard to believe, but it has happened. And it's one of those things where, again, I wonder, is this another thing where they're just brazenly, while pretending to be skilled propagandists, they're just brazenly saying, "Screw you, unwashed masses. Screw you, worthless eaters. This is what we think of you." I don't know. It's not a very good way to mollify the public. That's if that was what they were aiming to do, that's all I would say about it. What do y'all think? Let me know below. My name is Andy Nowicki. Please check out my work at altrightnovelist.com. My latest book, The Insurrectionist, can be purchased at terrorhousepress.com.